This morning our passage comes to us from Matthew, the 15th chapter, and we're going to start at verse number 21. Can be found on page 1526 of the Bibles that you'll find on your chairs. And during this season of education, it's interesting that that's exactly what this passage is all about. And the question for you this morning is going to be, what are you learning? And where are you learning it? And who is your teacher? And the answer to those questions may be quite unexpected, as they were for this woman here. I've been doing quite a bit of learning the last couple weeks because I've been spending time with children. Spent time with all of my grandchildren, our grandchildren. And it's amazing that God can use anyone at any time, at any place to teach you things. One morning we were spending time with our son Steve and his son Jack, 2 years old, soon to be 3 in a couple weeks. And Steve was trying hard to tell this 2 almost 3-year-old something, and he was trying to be diplomatic and trying to be careful. And Jack, this little guy, was just looking at him. And all of a sudden, Jack looked at his dad and looked at me and looked back at his dad, and he said, "Dad, if you've got something to say, then just say it." All right, then. Lesson learned. And so Steve said it. People of God, let's learn from His Word. Leaving that place, Jesus withdrew to the region of Tyre and Sidon. Wow. Jesus and the disciples just went into pagan land. This is a scary place. They are not wanted. They are not welcome. They are unlike everybody there. This is like you being down at a scary bar on Colfax at midnight last night. Your head's on a swivel because this is the last place that you want to be, is Tyre and Sidon. A Canaanite woman from that vicinity came to him crying out. Really? A Canaanite. They hated Canaanites. Stay away from the Canaanites. Don't marry a Canaanite. Don't do any business with a Canaanite. Stay out of that area. We've got nothing to do with people like that. And here comes a woman. A piece of property in this day. She's the bottom of the social scale. She's Canaanite, she's a woman, and she comes screeching at Jesus and His disciples. She came crying out. The Greek word for crying out is kritzo. And the word is picked, and the Greeks would do this because even the way that you pronounce the word sounded like what she was doing. So here comes this Canaanite woman to the Messiah and His disciples, and she's seriously. That's what she's doing. She's crying out, "Lord, Son of David, have mercy on me. My daughter is suffering terribly from demon possession." Jesus didn't say a word. So His disciples came to Him and urged Him, "Send her away, for she keeps crying out to us." Oh, Jesus, please, Lord. She's getting on our last nerve. And we're walking and we're trying to get someplace, and she doesn't give it up. And she keeps crying out about her daughter. Jesus answered, "I was only sent to the lost sheep of Israel." And that's true. It's absolutely true. This was the plan. His plan is that he gathers all people to himself. He will go to the ends of the earth to draw you and the people of Nepal and the people all over into relationship with himself. And he sent the message of a beautiful creation, and people didn't get it. He sent Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, and they didn't get it. Sent the judges, they didn't get it. Sent the prophets, sent Isaiah, sent Jeremiah. They didn't get it. And finally the Father says, Son, I'm sending you to be born in the flesh. For about 30 years, you're going to spend time with me, and I'm going to bathe you in the Word, and I'm going to give you marching orders, and then you are going to gather disciples, and most of your time is going to be spent with your disciples. And then through the disciples, you're going to reach the nation of Israel, the lost sheep of Israel. And they're going to understand, I am the Messiah. I'm the one they've been looking for. I'm the one they've been waiting for. And now we've got a bunch of people, and we've got the temple, and we've got worship, and we've got sacrifices. We've got all these things, and it's the nation of Israel that now will go out and reach the world. That's the plan, son. So first to the Jews, and then the Jews will be used by me to reach the world. And so Jesus looks at this Canaanite, this Gentile woman, and says, you're not part of the plan right now. We'll get to you, but not now. He says, I was only sent to the lost sheep of Israel. And the woman came and knelt before him, literally groveled in the dirt before him. Mothers are like that, aren't they? Fathers are like that too. If your child needs help, you will do anything to help that child. And this woman comes screeching. She crosses ethnic barriers. She crosses gender barriers. She crosses everything because she's going to get help for her daughter. Lord, help me, she said. He replied, it's not right to take the children's bread and toss it to their dogs. What? It's not right to take the children's food, their bread, and toss it to their dogs. And the woman says, yes, Lord. She doesn't mean, yes, you're right, I concede that point. What she says is, yes, it is okay. It is okay that you take some bread and you give it to the dog. It is okay that you give what you have and you give it to my daughter. But even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from the master's table. There's always been dogs. And if there's dogs around meals, there's dogs at the meals. I think dogs are the supreme optimists because they will sit beside you and they're just very patient. They sit down and they cock one eyebrow as only a dog can, and they are sure that you're going to drop some food. Now seriously, how often does that happen? I mean, maybe you're a bad eater and it happens to you all the time, but you're going to take a bite of your hamburger, it fell out of my mouth, bounced on my plate, bounced on the table, and the dog got it. That never happens. Dogs are optimists because they think that maybe, you slip the dog some food, or maybe there's a guest in the house. I mean, you're prime pickings because you don't know the rules, and so you pull the food off and you give it to the dog, and so the dog will sit there for a while, and then the dog will go to the next person and wait patiently for you to be a slob and drop food on the floor. They had dogs in this day. But even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from the table. And Jesus says, woman, you have great faith. Your request is granted. And her daughter was healed from that very hour. What happened there? Every passage has the hardest question. Every passage you can say, wow, that's a hard question right there. So when you're reading through Scripture and you get to this and you don't understand it right away, that's okay. You don't have to say, I don't understand anything in this book. Just read it and keep going. And you can talk about, or you can go back to it someday, or it'll come back. But here's a hard question. What in the world was Jesus doing to that poor woman? Here's this Canaanite woman. She is willing to take every risk, grovel in the dirt literally to get help for her daughter. And Jesus says, I didn't come for you. You're a dog. Yeah, and he did say that. You are like a dog. Not a cute little dog. but you are like one of these wild dogs that comes nipping and gets annoying, and I just wish that you would go away. And the disciples actually said that. Now, some say that Jesus was testing her. And he wanted to see her being a Canaanite and being a woman, whether she really had faith. So he was kind of pushing back on her a little bit. But that doesn't sound like Jesus. Here comes a woman that is terrified because her daughter is tormented with a demon. Who knows what kind of suffering that brought on? And the Jesus that we know doesn't then say, kind of poke at her and push at her and test her faith. Some pompous, arrogant, religious dude comes along. He'll push back on them big time for their good so they can learn, but not this woman. What's he doing? I fully believe, IMHO in my humble opinion, I believe that the Father is teaching the Son in this teachable moment. Jesus isn't going from being hard-hearted to soft-hearted, nothing like that. But the Father has given to the Son this plan of here's where we're going to go, and the Father is always obedient to the Son, even to the cross and death. It was amazing. No one has ever had perfect obedience like that. At this point, the Father is saying to the Son, I'm teaching you something new, that along the way, it's okay to spend some time with the non-Jews. So when the Samaritan woman comes to the well, it's okay. When the centurion comes and needs healing for his son, it's okay. Jesus had limitations. Philippians tells us when he took on human flesh, he took on the limitations that we have. He couldn't be in two places at one time.